So this is not something that I wanted my first video to be, but it's hard to ignore something that you are currently so passionate about. The fact that you can't get past the thought, basically. And the thought is, what is the American dream nowadays? And this really happened today. I am literally bed hair, nothing's done. I have glasses on. I never have glasses on. But I'm just sitting here, and in my previous video, you saw that I was just sitting here learning about different things, researching and figuring out what I want to do with life. What is there? What is the point to all of this when there is so much out there that you can't even put blinders on? If you just look at this if you just look through a pinhole through your glasses or something, and you can see just a little bit, it's still the size of a mountain. And don't even get me started if you can have your full vision, because you see everything that's out there in the world. Online shops, online things, everything is online. And then you get to the corporate world, and there's so much potential of growth, of a career, of purpose. It's just mind-boggling. And I just wanted to raise these questions in your mind, because they're running around in mine. And I just want to share this confusion with you, because there is so much out there and not enough people are taking advantage of it. And I see it. I don't take advantage of it. I am seeing all of this for the first time, and it's nauseating. It truly is nauseating for the amount of things you could get by on. I have done so much research, like papers and papers of research, and I'll get into that. But I have looked into so many career paths, so many different how to get to where I want to go, which is personally my goals: house, kids, getting them through college, retirement. I'm not a dreamer anymore. I want the practicality of having my generation, my husband's line continued. I am old-fashioned in that. However, there is no dreaming in this head anymore. And if you know anything about maladaptive daydreaming, you can look it up. I used to do that as a kid. I used to do that all the time. I would have so many stories in my head. I should have been a writer. But I'm here at 24 years old, not knowing what to do with my life, already hung up the rag on one of my careers that I could have taken. And now I'm trying to figure out a different career. What is the sense in that? I was a welder for 2 years, making average money for someone that's in an entry job. And if you don't know what it is, what a CNC table is, it's basically a 3D printer for metal, and it just cuts the metal, basically. You can look that up as well. But I was making those for 2 years. I loved the craft. I loved making things, getting better. And I'll never forget this, my supervisor told me that he has to up his game because I was getting better. Small shop, but still. And he taught me everything I knew. Everything that was practical and everything. I went to trade school. And I learned more in my job, which is, I have to admit, that's pretty much how it goes in almost every job. You learn it as you go. But I gave up that career because of personal reasons. Stuff happened. But if I wanted to go back into a career, I'd be putting my body at risk. I'd be putting my mind at risk, my eyes, my throat, my lungs, my hands, my wrists. So much goes into that kind of career, and not everybody's up for it for the long haul. I would love for that to be a hobby. I would love to have my own shop. I would love to have all these things, but sometimes it's just not feasible, especially in this day and age, especially since the housing market is like so out of control, especially where we're living right now. It's impossible. We live somewhere that is like, my husband's lived in this apartment for over 9 years now. I've lived here almost 2 because we got married. I moved in here. Long story. But the fact is, he hasn't been able to move out. There was an opportunity a long time ago, but he hasn't been able to move out even with a double income. I'm working full time too. There's 2 incomes going. And granted, insurance is a lot, especially for 2 people. And I don't have a career, so I'm working an entry-level job, which is pretty nice. If we were anywhere else, I would be making good money. We'd be able to afford a house if in that market, because it would be less busy and everything. But I'm just so drained of constantly thinking, what if there was something more? What if we could stay in this valley? What if we could be here to raise our kids, to have a life here? And it's not going to happen. What if the only way to reach where we want to go is to leave? To leave the place where we want to settle down. I mean, we're already settled. We love this valley. We love the people here. It is a little big for our taste, but it is what it is. It's so difficult to want to dream. It's the dreaming. I love looking at houses and seeing everything and dreaming about the future, but the future isn't happening. Not on my timeline, and I don't want it to be on my timeline. That's you know whose. But the fact is, the American dream for the average American, it's not easy to find. It's not easy to find. And yes, I know a lot of people made it, and a lot of people have a great life, and all of these things are happening for all these people. I'm not trying to be woe is me. It is just so difficult to understand why so much is changing. So much is changing. And think about it this way. Our parents, my parents, grew up without smartphones. My mom learned how to type on a typewriter when she was in school, like grade school. And then she went on to learn computers in college and all of that. And she was good at it. She had a job, she had everything she needed. And then the world sped up. There were smartphones, there was computers, there was iPads, earpieces, everything that was in the future just exploded. Just exploded. This is what's happening to us. We are not keeping up with the times. Everyone that's being left behind now is going to stay behind unless they pick up their feet and start running. all this AI stuff, all of this new age is so daunting, especially for people that can't get out of the cycle, can't get out of whatever situation that they're in. I can spend all day looking up how to get a YouTube channel started and all of that, like thumbnails, Canva, Etsy, all of these things that are meaningless if they're not done. I literally thought about starting a bakery because as you can tell from my voice, I am a little bit Southern. So I make a good cornbread. But this is all that I've written down on the bakery stuff. And there is like so much more information, legal stuff, marketing, all of these puzzle pieces that didn't used to be there. A lot of this is being learned for the first time, and it's not like a no-brainer. Like, let me see here. Where was I? You have to get a license either with the city, county, state, liability insurance, all this information, and it's just making bread in your kitchen and selling it. That's it. Labeling requirements, making sure there's only 2 people working, 2 owners or whatever. That's the state I live in. But what happened to cause all of this nitty-gritty there's so much. And if you start a YouTube channel, like this is my first actual long-term video, I have, let's see, 4 pages on YouTube. And these are from the same video because it was a multi-part video and I didn't finish watching the video and taking notes because I was just so burnt out after it. And it was like only 10% of YouTubers actually make it to the point where they can call themselves YouTubers and have a steady income and all of that. Because the whole reason why I wanted to start a YouTube is to have a second income. Because one of my goals is to have kids. And I don't want to be working while I'm raising however many under a certain age. I don't want to be at work sending them to daycare. That's why my mom stayed home. She put my sister in a daycare and stuff happened and she was like, no. She gave up her career for her kids. A career that could have flourished, something that could have been so successful for her because she is a hard-working girl. She raised 2 crazies and 1 physically disabled. I have dyslexia, and she homeschooled me. She homeschooled all 3 of us, and she still made it out. For reasons I'm not going to say, I am currently in no contact, but I have such respect for someone that will give up everything for her family. It's not about everything else that she did. It's about how much effort that took. And I am looking to get into a career because of the opposite. I can't even have kids until we start to settle down. And what is the American dream? What is the American dream but to live the life the way you want it? Be happy with what you have, be at peace, and be comfortable. Strive for what you want to strive and be thankful for what you have. Because if I go down this career path, the entry job to whatever, I'm going to be stuck there for the next 20 to 30 years trying to balance home and work when I could be sitting at home doing an online project, making sure kids isn't getting into those drawers. There is so much potential in the American as a whole, as the individual. Everyone that are in schools right now, and don't even get me started on schools, but there is so much potential for everyone at all ages. There are teenagers becoming millionaires by themselves. And to think some of the 40, 50-year-olds are going back to college to get another degree. My sister had a older lady that was going through music school with her, and she was like 50 something going through music school. I think it was music therapy. I don't know. But she was this older lady doing what she wanted to do, doing what she thought was best for her life. And me, 24 years old, I don't know what to do. I don't got a direction. I don't got any kind of know-how. I'm doing all of this research to know what's out there. And that's what we need to do, is because you come out of school hardly knowing the world. And I've seen it. I've seen it in young adults and teenagers just living life on pause because there's nothing happening in school other than algebra, calculus. Are they going to need those for a grocery job? Or are they going to need those for like more of a sciencey thing? Now, I haven't seen anything that I needed calculus or algebra for, so I kind of didn't need to excel at that. But are you kidding me? They don't even know how to do their taxes. This is why the people that do taxes every single year as a business is booming. For two reasons. One, you don't know how to do your taxes. Two, you don't have time to do your taxes and you just want someone else to do it, which is fine because I consider that a luxury. But there's so many professionals out there. There's so many people, and they're not doing what they want to do for the rest of their life. There's a term like, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. That worked 200 years ago. I shouldn't say 200, more like 50 or 60 years ago. Because it was true. You had carpenters, you had blacksmiths, you had technology people, you had science people. These people back then were so passionate because we didn't have all these distractions. We didn't have phones, we didn't have computers, we didn't have all these TVs just blaring in our eyes and ears and all of this influential stuff. What is the American dream to you? What is it? Because where I am sitting, not a whole lot of people know. Not a lot of people are allowing themselves to dream. Not allowing themselves to figure out, what can I do today? to get better tomorrow. So I ask you, and I'm asking myself too, because we're in this together. We're in this together. What are you going to do today to make tomorrow better? It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be the number one thing you're going to stick to. What are you going to choose today? You could wash the dishes. You could do laundry. You can do anything to get movement inside you, to get your gears turning, to get your soul on fire again. Look forward to life. Look forward to tomorrow. It'll worry about itself. But what are you going to do to make it better? All right, I talked enough. I gotta edit this thing. And yes, I'm going to learn how to edit. And I don't want to learn how to edit. But we'll see how it goes. See you on the flip side.